Again, by special request, we're going to take a look at a very confusing calculus problem. It's going to look easy at first, and then you're going to very quickly realize that it doesn't make very much sense. And like all calculus problems, is if you can get started, it gets pretty easy pretty fast, but getting started on this one is really, really hard. So this is the problem that we're given. Find the equation of the tangent to the curve f of x equals x squared through the point 1 minus 3. Now at first this seems like any old derivative question or tangent question. You have some function. Nope, stop being smart on me. You have some function, f of x. You're given a point. You find the derivative, which means you have a slope. And then you find the equation of that line, and it looks like y equals mx plus b, and you get to go home. What makes this make a little bit less sense is you know what y equals x squared looks like. You know it looks, stop that. You know it looks more or less like that, except the point 1 minus 3 is over here. So what is the question asking? Well, the question is asking, imagine I could take a tangent through that point and line it up. Right? It would look something like that. And this would be a really easy question if I knew what that point was. And since I have absolutely no idea what that point is, this becomes a really, really hard question. So let's give this a try. I'll try and draw the diagram a little bit bigger. So we'll make our parabola very, very wide, and we'll make our point very, very far away. And so somewhere here is that mystery tangent. And keep in mind a couple of things. One is that the way you find the equation of a line is the formula y minus y1 equals mx minus x1, which is just the formula for slope with the pieces shuffled. And this would be a very, very easy question if I knew what that point was. So you do what you do in math when you don't know something that you really would like to know. You pretend you know, and just give it a name. So I'm going to call this mystery number A. Now, I also don't know what that number is. But I do know that if this is f of x, whatever number this is, it is the number I get when I put my mystery number A into my formula. So now I have 2 points. This can be my my x1, x2, y2, and this can be my x1, y1. So now this becomes f of a minus y1 equals m x minus x1. But now I need a slope. Well, if I know what f is, I can get slopes by working out f prime of x. And if I knew what a was, this slope would be the number you get when you plug a into the derivative. So this is all kind of coming together now. F of a minus y1 equals f prime of a x minus x1. And if that seems confusing, you're absolutely not alone. But if you can get this far, everything else is going to be very straightforward, and we're going to kind of whip through it quickly. So my function, remember, f of x in this case was x squared. That means f prime of x equals 2x. Okay? There. And if I change these to a's, the thing is still the same. So this is f of a is a squared. y1 over here, this point was 1 negative 3. So that's my x1 and that's my y1. So a minus minus 3. Let's get a good color going on here. This is 2a, which we worked out over here. This is a. Let's clean that up. And this is, in this question, 1. Okay, now if I ignore everything above here, this is just an equation with a. And now I just sort of get to work slowly. So this is a squared plus 3, distribute, 2a squared minus 2a, and this is a quadratic equation because it has a squared in it, so I want 0 on one side, everything else to the other, so these get bumped to the other side. 0 equals 2a squared minus a squared, that's a squared, minus 2a, and 3 becomes minus 3. And now I go through, 0 equals, and this can factor. Remember how to factor. I want for 3, so I want minus 3 and plus 1. Okay, let's keep going. So just keep our work. 0 equals a minus 3, a plus 1. This separates into two equations. A minus 3 equals 0, a plus 1 equals 0, a equals 3, a equals minus 1. Now, this is weird because I have two answers for a. I was only looking for one number. What that means is, and if I'm going by this graph, this number should be, that should be the minus 1. But it also means over here somewhere at 3 that there is another point, and you can kind of see it. That you can actually draw two tangents. So there are two different values here that work. And we didn't know that was going to happen necessarily, but it came out of the equation, and now we go, oh, okay, that makes sense. So you can, even if you don't know that you're expecting two answers, you can still find both answers. Now, let's get, just really quickly, my picture back here. 2 points. So let's use this, let's use this point over here. I'll leave that out for a second. So this would be negative 1, and negative 1 squared is 1. And the slope here would be f prime of negative 1, which is 2 times negative 1, which is 2, negative 2. So this line has a slope of negative 2, and it passes through the point negative 1, 1. Okay, so y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. Y minus 1 equals negative 2. X minus minus 1 is plus 1. Y minus 1 is equal to negative 2x negative 2. Y equals negative 2x minus 1. Keep that as an answer. Let's maybe do the other one in a different color. So, what do we feel like? Something in red. So this is 3. 3 squared is 9. And the slope f prime of 3 would be 2 times 3, which would be 6. So this line has a slope equals 6. So y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. And you're seeing none of this is particularly difficult, but I'm writing a lot. Y take away 9 equals 6. X take away 3. Y minus 9 equals, distribute, 6x minus 18. Move the negative 9 to the other side. Y equals 6x minus 9. And that becomes the other answer. And let's just take those things over to Desmos. So here is x squared in red, and 6x minus 9 was the second one we found. And there is this blue line, and its tangent right there, and there is a screen line there. And if you look down there, there is the point 1, negative 3. And these are, that's 1, negative 1. And that is, if I can find it, that is the point 3, 9. So that all went together. By the way, there is always usually more than one way of doing these. So if you had used, instead of using this point and this point, and instead both times use this 1, negative 3, you would have gotten the same answer. So this would have been different numbers and all would have worked out. So a very challenging question, but still something you're able to get through. And hopefully that makes a little bit more sense. Good luck with your math homework.